on our last master class, actually, it's a short one from me because for attendance module, there are not many things which we need to take into consideration. It's only the 418 qualification which we have been talking about in our previous classes as well. So my only focus today will be on just uh, one rule. Again, going back to that, let me quickly show my next slide. So what is the logic of employee qualification as continuous contract? Because there is a qualification which is needed for attendance, and we are only checking in attendance module that this particular employee is auto qualified as a continuous contract based on our 418 rule. So what we do actually is we are doing the 418 checking. According to the employment ordinance, an employee who has been employed continuously by the same employer for 4 weeks or more with at least 18 hours worked in each week, no matter if they are full-time or part-time workers, they are considered as a continuous contract employee. And in our system, we have a kind of a flag which indicates if this user is qualified. We just change the employment status of that employee as a continuous contract employee. So there's an auto update of employee status to continuous contract. That's only thing which we have implemented as part of a complete law related or legislation related things in attendance module. Okay, so let me give you an example. So here's an example. Jason is a part-time worker who has worked for 4 straight weeks. Each week worked for more than 18 hours, which is in total. He has worked for 85 hours. So if you can see, each week total is more than 18 hours or 18 hours. So in that case, he's qualified as 418 employees. And in that case, this employee will be auto-updated to a continuous contract employee, and their average daily wage will be calculated based on some kind of benefits which we have seen in future, whether it's leave related or the pay related, which is the statutory pay, holiday pay, and other things will be similar. Let's look into an example where Jason is not qualified as the 418 employee. So here he's a full-time worker now and has worked for 5 weeks. Okay, but one of the week he has not completed 18 hours of work, which is on the fourth week. In that, hence he's not qualified as 418 employee. But what we do is that in our system we then look for the next combination of continuous employment of 4 weeks and have fulfilled 18 hours of work in each week. So basically, our calculation will again trigger from this week where he has already qualified for the first week. Subsequently, on the next month, if every week he has done the full 18 hours of work, will be auto qualified for the continuous contract. So this is how we do a checking, or how we derive the logic of an 418 employee in our system is through that. Okay, so let me give you a little bit overview, because these are all the terminology used in our attendance module. So an employee for the rest day is qualified if he is having a continuous contract. And since we do have a schedule where we give employee a rest day, so according to an employee employed under a continuous contract is entitled to not less than one rest day in every period of 7 days. So every period of 7 days, when they are continuously working, at least one of the rest day they are qualified for. But again, if they fall into a continuous contract employee, and also there are a few of the employees who can work voluntary on the rest days. So it is all up to the decision between employer and employee, which they have agreed upon. And there are some cases, and if they are not qualified as continuous contract workers, they are non-continuous contract workers, then they can. So sometimes the rest days is not paid as well. So a rest days is defined as a continuous period of at least 24 hours of break they get in between. Same way for overtime, there is actually no statutory standard working hours system, as well as no statutory maximum number of hours defined anywhere in the law, as well as the negotiation of working hours or the overtime payment terms are always left to the employer and employee what contract they have. And according to the Hong Kong law, it doesn't confirm any specific requirement for overtime work apart from the statutory minimum wage protection, which we talk here about, right? And the law doesn't require an employer to pay for the work they overtime or provide it off in lieu of employees who worked overtime. But if they have an agreement, then they are required to pay the overtime payment, as well as they are required to give an off in lieu for that. Okay. For the statutory holidays, it is as normal that a holiday is also entitled to employees who is employed under continuous contract for not less than 3 months of their work, basically in that first year of service, right, which we call. So that's how the rest day overtime and statutory works. It's just the one checking which we do is that we calculate the total hours which we have seen here per week and make them qualified as continuous contract. That's the only logic which we have in our attendance module.
So for attendance, basically we don't have any changes, right? So basically we just need to track the user clocking and then calculate from there whether or not the users are satisfied the 18 hours per week, and then for continuous 18 hours per week in total, right? So one of the pages where you can see this is in attendance records. If you have, if the user has access to attendance records, then we have a weekly total here. Then you can see whether or not the weekly total actually satisfied the 18 hours per week. But if not, you can see it from the daily reports, in the individual reports where there's a working hours worked per day, right? Then user can manually calculate based on the week that they started. The 1 week is not per se Monday to Sunday, right? It is
it can be anything. Yeah.
It can be any
So,
day, right? So let's say the
correct,
user
correct.
start on Wednesday. So the
Yes.
definition of 1 week will be day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and so on,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So yeah, come back to the attendance record. This might not be an accurate representation of the weekly total. So I think the best place where you can see this is in the individual attendance record. Then they manually calculate the total. So let's say the user joined on Tuesday. So the definition of 1 week will be from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they can calculate the hour works for the whole 1 week. Right now the number of data that I have is limited, so it's not really showing a 1 week period, but just give some idea where they can get the information and where they can calculate the weekly total.
And for Fero side or HK418, right? We need to enable that feature and the configuration first, so that the company can enjoy this 418 feature that will be automatically convert the employee employment type to continuous contract if the employee is eligible. So you can enable this feature and the payroll configuration here. This is a checkbox. One thing to take note: this option is available for those company which is subscribed to attendance module. If the company do not subscribe attendance module, right, this option will be disabled. So in order to use this feature, they have to subscribe attendance module so that they can enjoy this feature. Once this option is enabled, then in payroll side, right, we have a scheduler is ran every morning 6 a.m. Singapore time. That scheduler will get the list of employee from attendance module, which will include the list of staff. But that might be include some are non-eligible and some are eligible. So we take all the eligible staff list, and then we will change the employment type for those staff who eligible for HK418. For this 418 test user, according to Hannah's demo just now, that this stuff the total working hour for 4 weeks is stay under 72 hours. So this step will be still non-continuous contract. So once he completed 72 hours for 4 weeks, right? This employment type will be automatically changed to continuous contract, so that the admin doesn't need to do anything, doesn't need to come here and change to continuous contract. The system will automatically change to continuous contract. For this user, it will be stay under non-continuous contract. Let me show another step. Which is eligible for continuous contract. So once the staff is completed 72 hours for 4 weeks, right, the employment type will be automatically changed to continuous contract. And then the system will set the continuous contract start date automatically as well. For this user, his join date is 5th January 2023, and then he works 18 hours per week and works for continuous 4 weeks. So according to calendar, you join on 5th January, and then for the second week, right, it will be on 12th. That week will be, first week will be completed on 12th, and second week will be completed on 19th, and then that week will be 26th, and then fourth week will be 2nd of February. And then at that time, the attendance module site check whether this staff is eligible for 1A, means it's completed 72 hours or not. If it's completed 72 hours, then attendance site will press this staff as a continuous contract, and then we will capture that information and change the employment type to continuous contract. And then the continuous contract start date will be the next day of that day, that scheduler date. So 3rd February will be continuous contract start date. Once this step has been changed to continuous contract, and then the continuous contract start date has been set right, the subsequent period will be calculated with HK 413. So if there is any annual leave or sick leave or any paternity, maternity, all these statutory item will be calculated with HK 413, means his pay will be calculated with average daily wage, ADW. So for those staff who are stay under non-continuous contract, right, the pay run will be as normal. There is no calculation with ADW. So for this staff is stay under non-continuous contract, but for 4 weeks will be first on, he's joined on 14 August, and then the 4 weeks will be on 11 September. On 11 September, the scheduler will check whether this staff is eligible for HK 418. Then this staff is eligible for HK 418. The system will automatically set this employment type to continuous contract, and then the continuous contract static will be 12 September 2023. So here it will be changed to 12 September. And then the system will send email as well. Let me show the sample email, because for today the engine already ran on 6 a.m. in the morning, so we cannot show the changes. So let me show the email. This is the email that admin will be received. Admin will see the list of user who has been changed to continuous contract. And then here is the note. This step already changed to continuous contract, but that if admin want to change that to non-continuous contract for those staff for some other reason, then the admin can still change the employment type to non-continuous contract from the UI. There's two places. One is under user admin, employee DD, visit TD, and then another one is under payroll admin, administration view TD. Let me show here. This one is already changed to continuous contract, but if admin insists to change to continuous contract, he can manually change back to non-continuous contract. And then he has to make sure this checkbox is ticked. Otherwise, the next day when the engine runs, this will be changed back again to continuous contract, because the admin wants to keep this staff as a non-continuous contract. So this one need to be checked. There is two ticks here. If check this system will not update the employee to continuous contract automatically unless the admin and check this checkbox. So if admin wants to keep this staff as a non-continuous contract, make sure this checkbox is ticked. So this is the one place that admin can change back to non-continuous contract. Another place is under payroll administration, and then there is employee detail, view detail. Yeah, here also we have an employment type, and then we can check this checkout as well. So there's two places. One is under user admin, and another one is under payroll administration. So this is how payroll handle for HK 418. Yeah, that's it from payroll side. Thank you.